going live. Oh my gosh. Woo. All right, guys. What's up? We are live. Back again with another one. Thank you guys for who joins in. Thank you guys who watches. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Yeah, man. Woo. 8:30 on the Pacific Coast. I know it's 11:30 on the East Coast. Shout out to y'all. Again, I do these live streams Monday through Friday at night. At what time? I have no idea. But when we get higher and higher, and when I get my stuff together, I will have a set date. But they're at night. But if you hit that like button, subscribe, notification bell, you will be notified. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys joining in. Today we're doing a live reaction video of Jubilee. It's a video about the rich versus the poor. So we're gonna dive into it, and we're gonna get this video on. Oh, okay. Title is rich versus poor. Is the economy rigged? Is the economy rigged? Middle ground. So I kind of like Jubilee videos a lot. So I think it's a great video to watch, and we're gonna dive into it, y'all. Let's get it.
As a real estate guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
Only Toledo Batman. Not a bad guy. Come on now. If you study the tax code, and many Americans like myself, you need to, especially as an adult, you need to. But many Americans don't read the tax code, don't know the tax codes, don't even know one exists. They know it comes out their paycheck. They know they pay it when they go to the restaurant or grocery store. Whatever service they have, they pay taxes. They understand it. Again, we need our government. We need our government to function properly. I'm all for, but him saying that's a loophole. It's not a loophole when you know the game. It's not a loophole when you know the rules to how the game is played. Many people don't know the rules, and if you do know the rules to the game, guess what? Many people don't play the game. Or don't want to play the game. They want to make their check, go to work, make their check, and go home. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I tell you. But him saying, "Oh yeah, that's wrong." No. You just don't know the rules to the game. Once you know how a business runs, or a corporation runs, or how this runs, and pandemic showed me how we are all connected. But if you run a certain kind of way, you can save money a big way. You can save money in many ways. I know I'm veering off a little bit, but you can save money in many ways. You can cut labor, which are employees, which is going to maybe hurt the economy or that city, but the business has to do what it has to do. Now, if you understand the tax code, you know how to maneuver. You may be able to hire more people, maybe to service more people. So people may be able to work longer hours and support their mother, or grandmother, father, parents, brothers, sisters, somebody going to college. So understanding tax code is very important, and I myself need to get on that because I have not. But it's not a loophole when you know. Since you don't know, you have a form of ignorance, like me, and it's okay. But there's some things out there you can get tax breaks on. Don't know about that, did you? Come on now.
Being poor is a choice.
I do not want to be disingenuous to ignore systemic issues that we all experience.
Talk your talk.
But I feel like it's 2021 and there's a lot of free resources. I mean, Facebook has a lot of free courses. I think that poor is also a mindset.
I agree. Originally, when
I think poor is, we're sticking in America. There's other challenges out there in the world. I'm not the guy to get into it. I only speak on where I live, which is America. There are many challenges in the world. There are many obstacles you have to face, whether it's schooling, living, just trying to maintain. It's hard enough. But I would say a good portion of it is mindset. Now, I'm not knocking other obstacles. I've had obstacles myself in life. But it's important to realize that it's like with losing weight. It's a mindset. It's a consistency. It's discipline. It's just showing up every day, putting in the work, putting in the time. That mindset is so important. That mindset will make you, will break you. And it's not until you are in the process. You don't have to be done with the journey, but I understand when you're in that process, the moment you want to give up is the moment that you got to keep pushing forward. So I agree. A great portion of it is mindset. A great portion is mindset.
When I came out here, I started straight at the homeless shelter. I had to flee from domestic violence from my family. Most people in general don't choose to be poor, but since I've been here specifically in LA, a lot of people outside, they don't want to come into the shelter because they'd rather be in the tents.
I mean, I grew up poor,
Okay.
so I have been on both sides of the coin.
Okay.
And I can reflect and look back on some of the lifestyle choices that I was making, some of the people that I was hanging around. So I don't think that people can initially control if they're born into poverty,
Right.
but I think that there is a certain level of control that comes along with being able to have that determination and that resilience. Yeah.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
Disagree is stepping forward. Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, man, life is tough. I ain't even gonna BS you. Life is tough. And her talking about the homeless shelter and everything, I know friends, colleagues who are homeless, so it's not a joke, man. And then it messes with your psyche a bit to interact with society, because at least when you get beat down in the world, at least when you get torn down and you just need a break, you need some place to be still, at least you got a home. Some people don't, and that it plays a big part on your psyche. But that mindset is key, man.
We need to realize that these people are on the street not because of their own choosing, but because of the system that we live in perpetuates these things.
Y'all saw her, right?
I can speak.
Bring it back.
Choosing because of
See
the
it?
system.
Y'all see this now. I've seen this look many times in school, at work, in life. I've seen this look like, come on now. That look your mama give you, like, Ma, I took the chicken out the freezer. I mean, it's not a knock. It's just
The system that we live in perpetuates these things.
If I could speak to that, I come from a family that once relied on welfare and food stamps,
shout out, Todd. What up, man?
and I've been blessed enough to make millions.
I've seen him on CNBC make money. So I've seen him before. So yeah, he's doing the thing.
Millions of dollars in real estate. But had I bought real estate from 2005 to 2008, I'd probably be bankrupt today. I just bought it at the right time.
People wish to be rich, they don't want to be rich. The difference is, do you take action? That being said, I agree with a lot of your points you're making about people not really having the resources or the opportunity to have any kind of action plan.
Some people don't even want to be rich. Like, I don't want to be rich. But I also don't want to be poor. I'm happy in the middle. And I would want to live in society where they could perpetuate people to lift themselves out of poverty.
Now, I agree with this man saying. I agree what he is saying. Now, I ain't want to say I ain't want not be rich. Who doesn't? But there should be programs set in place to help people get out of their situation. There should be opportunities, certification, trades, grants and schoolings to help people from lower incomes or mid incomes, people with certain challenges that will make it harder for them to get access that somebody who has affluent, I think I'm saying the word right, who has affluent access or has the tools to get them to where they're trying to go. Like, there's many situations out there. I can name a many, I can name 1,000, I can name 100. But at the end of the day, there should be tools in place to help people to get out of their situation. There should be tools in place to help people get assistance. Don't just say, okay, this is what you need to do and go down that road. Have people help you there. Have people guide you there. Help people push you to a place where you're trying to go, and it's not, and you're the first. I understand personally when you're the first, it is difficult being in an environment where you're looking around And there's nothing to pull on from your past experience and nothing your parents or your close friends have been in a situation like this before. So I understand that there's most people don't want to be rich, but a lot of people don't want to, and a lot of people don't want to be poor. They want to be somewhere in the middle. But what he doesn't understand is the middle is squeezing and squeezing, and we need to set certain laws in place, especially now with inflation coming, to combat not only inflation but the widening of the gap between the rich and the poor. Again, I'm off capitalism, work hard, do your thing. What I'm not for is the gap is so wide that you can't afford basic needs. The gap is so wide that the other side may say, oh, you're lazy. Again, like I said from the beginning when we saw the beginning of the clip, some people, again, the tax codes, some people just don't know they exist. And to me and you, it may seem, and a lot of other people, it may seem common sense. Oh, yeah, we know about taxes, but we don't know about the tax code. We don't know about the laws, the regulations, the different city rules and states and governments, and it's a lot. So I'm with him. A lot of people, I guarantee you, everybody don't want to be poor, but a lot of people don't want to be rich. I want to have a nice home. I can put my kids through school. Maybe got a car too. I can go on vacation every other 3 to 4 months. And 401k and cash out. There's nothing wrong with that. That is fine. But what he's missing is the gap is getting so big, man, that it's not like our grandparents' day where you can just chill, work, and one person work and pay all the bills. No, you need 2 incomes. Not only that, you also need to be smart with it, because nowadays you can be loyal at a company. Next thing you know, you could be gone. So it's all about prioritizing and managing your money. But yeah.
Through programs and just be in the middle.
Billionaires should not exist.
To me, they should. If you work hard for what you want in life, you build that company, you build, like, say, an Amazon or a Microsoft or a Facebook. Listen, you worked hard, you did the right things, you followed the proper channels, and you're not. And you work that hard to get there. I don't see no problem with no billionaire or trillionaire, as long as you're not controlling what people do on a daily basis, like shelter and food and water. Have all the money in the world. I have no problem with a billionaire. You've earned it.
I don't see how anyone could ever spend $1 billion. It's not a necessity to have that much money, and I feel like there is a certain cap in which, like, you can completely survive and thrive with this amount of money, and then if you surpass that, you're just hoarding.
And then
I won't even say this. I won't even say it's hoarding. It's just some people just got that innate beast, like, I'm going to work my butt off and I'm going to change the world. I'm going to work my butt off to make sure I never go broke again. I'm going to work my butt off to provide a better life for my kids like my parents did for me. I'm going to work my butt off so I'll never be homeless again. I'm going to work my butt off so I can make a difference in this world, because spiritually it's inside of me. So there could be a variety of reasons. Now on CNBC, they did have a thing where it's like, if you're after 75,000, at 75 or 85,000, it plateaus on your happiness, because you get all your wants, you buy it all on the general level. But there's some people like the Elons and the Zucks or the Jeff Bezos who surpass that, and they shouldn't be criminalized on it. Honestly, again, this is America. You work hard, put in your work, and you do the right thing, you get a magnificent outcome.
And we've seen what people with billions of dollars are doing with their money. They're going to space for fun. Like,
Right.
Clearly, if we tax those people properly, get their wealth and distribute it to people who need it, that'd be a much better use than going to space for fun.
And even if they do that, they'll just move the money around in a different manner. Like when people, like, they'll just move the money around. At the end of the day, you'll just move the money from A to B to Z to D, change this code, cut this number of employees. And so it's a catch-22. But yeah, you can tax them, but it's like, you can only tax them but so much. You can't keep taxing and it solves your problem. Again, it comes back to the programs, the teachings, the foundation of what you're trying to build. You can't keep taxing somebody. It's like Honestly, when you say like we got to keep taxing them because they want to go to space, listen, that's their prerogative. They worked hard for it. They did the right proper channel. Cool. But you can't keep taxing someone and taxing someone and taxing someone and thinking and demonizing those people and say, it solved this problem. Yeah, we did it. Listen, you're not going to the root of the problem. On surface level, it seems cool. On surface level, it sounds nice. But what about the education system? What about there's certain neighborhoods? Maybe you need a grocery store. There's different things you can do with the money. I agree. But one man, one woman can't give you all of that. Yes, there's maybe 1 or 2 trillionaires in the world, or a billionaire, 100 billionaire. You can't tax them all. You can't tax them to like infinity and solve all the world's problems. We as a people have to come up, and when I say we as a people, I mean the government, United States, have to come up with different policies and rules and teachings to help people come out of their situation and programs. Because if you just keep taxing and taxing, you don't solve the problem. It's like giving somebody who got a gambling addiction money to pay their bills and not fixing the root of the problem. But it seems like common sense to me.
Personally, I don't think there's an issue with billionaires existing. The issue for me is that they need to be held accountable the same way poor people do. And I'm talking about the justice system.
When you look at a lot of billionaires who have gotten that way because of the just incredible amount of value they've given to society, I won't even talk about a huge, crazy billionaire. I'll talk about Jay-Z, who's a billionaire. He made amazing music. That's how he became a billionaire. And so I don't think it's the government.
Not only music, but his other businesses. But shout out to you, Hov. Hope to meet you one day.
Government's job to interject and say, okay, you have too much, we need to give it away. I mean, it would also never happen in any other arena. No one's gonna go, hey, Simone Biles, you have too many gold medals. We're gonna take them from you and we're gonna give them to the other people who weren't as talented as you.
I completely agree.
I completely disagree. I feel like that is the government's job. And Jay-Z, like you said, Jay-Z made his money from music. That's his labor. He's a musician. He's selling his talent. But then when
but also now, Jay-Z is doing that, but he set up a foundation of, okay, I'm gonna diversify. I'm gonna start my own record label. You get royalties off their music. You don't have to tour for the rest of your life. Like, this is stuff that the average person who don't do music don't know. I just know a little bit, but I'm not saying because I'm not a music person. I mean, I'm a listener. I'm a fan. I'm an audience member. But you can't expect to. If you come up with a song and it goes platinum and it plays and it's a hit record, you can live off those dividends sometimes for 10 years. Jay-Z put in the work, but also he diversified. He's not talking about that. He's talking about labor right now.
he invested in the alcohol, then he's using other people who are harvesting the wheat, the agave. They're breaking their back. They're using their labor.
So do you think that you shouldn't invest in those people? Should they just like say, the hell with your dreams, I'm not going to invest in you?
I'm saying.
What about the job?
What do you mean?
Exactly. What about the jobs? What about the jobs? What about the jobs? Like he's talking like, oh, it's a bad thing to break your back and labor and do all this. Listen, bro, it's a job. I have a job, and especially your level you are at in that company and what you're doing, I can feed my family. I can take my little girl to Disneyland. Like, a job is the basics, and I ain't want to say bottom level, but it's like the basics of earning money in the country. You need a job to earn money. Unless you're one of the few people who are smart and can take a few dollars, maybe they were given, or a refund check or whatever, or a stimulus check, and take that money and flip it, stack it, do all the other stuff, and start a business. That's like maybe 1% of people. Most people gotta fail. Most businesses fail after their first year. I know it's a lot. I don't got the statistics, but I know most businesses in America fail when you first start out. Again, and especially if you're the first one in your family to start a business. And guess what? You have nothing. You have no prior experience to pull on. Not saying your experience at maybe McDonald's, Wendy's, Walmart is not good experience, but it's like, you have nothing to pull on how to start a business. You have nothing to pull on how to do this and design that. So, yeah, man, like, You need jobs, man. Jobs. The pandemic showed me anything. It showed me we're all connected, and you need people who have jobs. Because if nobody has a job and we all get money from the government, guess what? The world shuts down. Nothing gets done. And then guess what? We have low supply and high demand. And guess what? Now we're spending money out the wazoo to pay for stuff that we can't afford anyway because we don't have enough money from the job. And then our country go down. Have we learned anything from the pandemic? Didn't mean to go off like that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue.
They're having jobs.
Yeah, but how much are they getting paid for their jobs? Are those jobs in the third world where they're getting paid pennies?
Yeah,
and then
versus
Jay-Z
no
makes
job.
millions off their labor.
How much do you pay your employees?
You think harvesting
than
isn't
enough?
going to exist in Jay-Z?
People get on my nerves when they say that. More than enough. Listen, we need numbers. We need numbers. I'll say that flat out. We need numbers. We need numbers. It's not to dig into your business, but when people ask that question, and especially if it's about money, people get on my nerves when they detour from that. Okay, I pay them maybe $15 an hour, $20 an hour, or I pay them salary. You don't even have to say a number, just say salary. Something. People get on my nerves when they do that stuff. Again, I'm going off a tangent. Sorry, guys.
Jay-Z doesn't invest?
If I may interject, I pay my employees like incredibly well, and I let them choose their own hours. Someone who works for me is a single mother. I pay her $50 an hour.
Talk that talk, Todd. See? You see what Todd did? Todd did what the other girl didn't. Gave a number. I gave an example. More than enough? Listen, I've been down there. I've worked for franchises most of my life where people say, if I got to give, I pay them more than enough. Or I'll give you a raise. I got to give everybody else a raise. Like, just, especially if you're on this platform, like, you can help a lot of people. That saying more than enough, it just infuriates me sometimes, guys. But hey, we still rocking with me. Thank you for rocking with me.
And I think that people that are providing jobs and opportunities, you can hate on them all you want, but at the end of the day, like, nobody would work that job if it wasn't in some way, shape, or form worth it.
Exactly.
People who make $1 billion get a fraction of the value they create. Everybody here who has a business understands.
I tell you right now, that man been in business. The way he did it like this, it's like this, broad shoulders. That man been in the game for a minute. Just a wiggle. And he got the white hat on. That's somebody's father right there. Somebody's father right there.
That. Even Jay-Z only gets 15 cents a record he sells. Okay?
Yes. That's because he got exploited by the record label.
No, dude. No. Jay-Z started his record label. Jay-Z partnered with Def Jam. I think it was Def Jam. Don't quote me on that. But he partnered with the record label. Exploited. It was a partnership. You know nothing about Jay-Z.
Label who's using his label to make money. It's the same
you
thing
keep using this word exploiting like you understand the record business, of which I am in, okay? Record labels back hundreds of artists. Do you know how many go busto? Yeah. Okay? They're taking risk in an artist by the tapes, paying the engineers, marketing, etc. They're exploiting them. They're taking on a bet. And they can't just give everybody 50-50. They'll go bankrupt. You don't understand.
That's a business.
In the record business, and you're just yelling out these words exploiting like you know what you're talking about, but you don't.
Spicy, spicy, spicy. Woo! Spicy. Man. Like, what I say? Listen, man, like, ooh. Man, say, you keep talking about the exploit like you know it. When you don't. My goodness, man. Again, at the end of the day, it's all a business, man. It's a business. 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 It's a business, man. He's right, because what the record, what he just got finished saying, what the record labels do, it's a gamble, it's a bet, it's an investment. You can't go 50-50 on everything, because then again you go busto, which is understandable. Like, but that's the name of the game. I've learned with entrepreneurship and business, you have to take risks. You have to take you have to take on certain risks and challenges that most people don't want to make or do. And it's okay if you don't want to do it. But the more risk you take, the greater reward. But at the same time, the more risk, it's catch-22. The more risk, more reward. More risk, more of the failure you may get. So he's right. Like, and I'm glad somebody from the record label was there to explain to this young man too.
That's why
They're not exploiting.
That's why there's one Jay-Z and not millions.
Exactly.
Of them. And
I
they're not
actually want
trying
to ask a question of how you define exploited and why you're saying that.
I'm using exploited in the Marxian term where your labor creates value and then your employer takes that value and distributes it unevenly to themselves and then leaves the rest for the workers. That's exploitation.
Homie said in the Marx, I can't pronounce that word. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But I agree to the sense of what he said just now, how it can be wrong for people to do that and take advantage of people and exploit people. There's some businesses out there that invest in the shareholders, and I know shareholders and all that, but there's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of companies out there that the people at the top will take the money and keep taking money, but never invest back into the workers, the people that make it function. So I get that on his point on that. But there's also the other half of the companies that do right, do what they're supposed to do, and follow their duty and do what's best for the business. So I'm 50-50 on this, honestly. Because there's a lot of companies that take advantage of their workers, don't pay workers, don't give raises, don't pay for compensation, or don't give certain benefits after a number of years, or when those workers get to those certain amount of years, they find some reason to let them go. So I'm with him on that end. On the other end, it's still a business. It needs to function. And if you have the resources to make your business better, focus on making your business better and the company better, and delegating the work to the proper employees. So I'm down. Yeah.
My name is David. I work for Disney in the entertainment character department, and I
Shout out to you, Disney.
make around $33,000 a year.
How's your experience been working at Disneyland?
My experience working at Disneyland is very mixed. The workers themselves, like my coworkers, are amazing people. Unfortunately, the company is not so great. They don't pay us that much. They have enough money to pay us more. I think they should just pay us more. But I don't think they're going to do that. That's why I'm advocating for a union to bargain in our favor.
My name is Ginny, and I run a software design agency. And this year, I'm going to be taking home about $400,000. When I started my
Now, if that's just for her taking over $400,000, then when she said she paying her workers enough, then I'm guessing she's making more than that. So she'll be more than $15 an hour. So when she said that number just now, I'm like, okay, now just enough. Hey, now make sure you got the numbers to back it up. I'm just saying.
My business, that was like all consuming for me. Everything I did in my life was for business. And so I think my partner felt a lot of neglect. And so a lot of our arguments, a lot of the times that we had issues were because of my absence.
The economy is rigged.
To a certain degree. To a certain degree. The more you got, the more you can get away with it. The more you got, the more you can get away with, generally.
I would actually.
If you're born in a rich family, you have more opportunities. And as someone who is poor, living paycheck to paycheck, you're stuck having to apply to jobs and settle for things that you don't like instead of being able to follow your passions.
I agree and disagree. I agree that it's rigged to incentivize certain areas
Bill?
and behaviors, like we have millions and millions of farm subsidies, so it supports agribusiness. It may support one area like real estate or capital investment over labor, but I don't think it's generally rigged to basically keep the rich guy rich and the poor guy poor. That part I'll disagree. But there are certain policies like the reinvestment in productive people's hands for building real estate. I would say that's a good thing. Right?
When you say
I don't
productive people, like, do you just mean people with money?
No, I mean people that actually take that money, organize people, put it to work, and create value. That's what I mean by productive people.
But who creates the value? It's the workers who create the value.
Listen, there's people who take
I
risks.
feel like Bill. I feel. I tell you, man, he got the cap on. He look like somebody far. Bill was like, okay, what's gonna do right now? This is what we gonna do. This is what we about to say. All right, listen here, boy. I feel. Bill said, let me go in real quick. Let me go in.
And they risk their money. That's creating value. What you discount is the person willing to risk their savings, okay, and provide capital for that venture and to be paid last. So if it goes busto, the worker still.
You heard that, guys. To be paid last. Business owner, everybody got to get paid first, and then you get paid last. The bills, the miscellaneous, the contractors, whatever it may be, the employees. After all that is said and done, you get paid last, and you take the most risk. Because even if you file for bankruptcy, guess what? The people with a job, they can go get another job. The people who own that business, though, people that own that business who file for bankruptcy, got to start all the way back over, or they got to try to find a job, but they're gonna be massive and dead and fail. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
The still gets paid. The investor doesn't. If it goes well, the worker gets paid and the investor makes money. You discount the role of capital and savings in any type of venture. Like my mom didn't want to be rich. She wanted to be a school teacher and work and do that and live in the middle ground, and that's fine. But there are people like me who want to take a lot of risk and get a lot of reward. And we put that capital to work. And you
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with it at all. You want to take risks, and like I said in the beginning, you take risks, you get a bigger reward. You take more risks, you get a bigger reward. You take no risk, you can't get mad at the person who took a risk and made a tryouts and went to the NBA. You can't get mad at somebody who went to 12 concerts or comedy clubs and got discovered as an artist or a comedian. You got to take risks. You got to take failure. It's a part of the game. It's the nature of the beast. That's all there is to it.
Hi, my name is Bill Perkins. I run a hedge fund. I do investments and other things. I manage my own money. How much I make annually? Sometimes I lose money, but I'd say on average over 10 million a year. I took care of my dad in the last years of his life. He died broke. I did not inherit my money. I made it myself. I really don't care about the money. Money is a tool for me to have the experiences that I want to have out of life. And there are many experiences that I want to have.
I agree. Most millionaires are self-made. So they're not given their money. They have to create and earn that money. But again, like I said, his father died broke. But most people aren't going to be a millionaire. Most people aren't going to be billionaires. It's a good aspiration, but at the end of the day, it's all about risk. But it's calculated risk. It's not like, oh, lottery ticket, let me scratch it off and I win $1 million. No, it's like calculated risk. You have to do study, you have to put in the time, you have to put in education, the work, the grind, all of that. But yeah, most millionaires are self-made and earn their money. There's a very, very few that are given their millions and they're millionaires. So shout out to my guy.
You have to have a certain level of awareness and knowledge to know the rules of the game. And I think that there are barriers put in place to kind of prevent people from knowing the rules, but I think that it's out there and you can have access to it, and it's, I think that knowing the rules is different.
I know the rules and I think they're disgusting. That's why I want to change them.
Why don't you play the game then? I mean, you can
I think they're disgusting. Why would I want to play the game?
See, that's his fault right there. That's his fault right there. He said, I know the rules, but I don't. He said, I know the rules. I agree with you. I know the rules. She replied, well, if you know the rules, why not play the game? Oh, I don't want to play the game. Why would I play the game? They're disgusting. My guy. You can't be mad at a system. Yes, let's say this. There's a lot wrong with the system that can always be fixed and changed over time from the past to now into the future. There always can be things that can change and can make society better. I agree in that aspect. But if you want to make change, you have no choice but to play the game. Do what you need to do legally and responsibly and make change in this, and make the change that you want to see in your city or state or your country. You gotta play the game. There is no, if you don't want to play the game, then take off all your clothes, go in the wilderness and just be by yourself and figure out how to eat squirrels and some fish. If you don't want to play the game, but the game, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not, it's gonna be here. So you're gonna get down or you're gonna get passed around. It's just the nature of the beast.
As a real estate guy, I can make millions of dollars and use the exact same tax loopholes that a Donald Trump would use and pay effectively no tax. And does that make me a bad guy, or did I just study the tax code?
It makes you a bad guy, yeah.
This guy right here.
You think so?
If you do that, yeah.
Ty was like, oh, you think so? Oh, you think so? Calm down, Ty. That's a young man.
I'm following the law to a T.
The law is wrong. Yeah.
Why is it wrong? It's the law.
Okay, the law is wrong. The law is wrong. Okay, cool. But the way he said it nonchalant like that, it's like, okay, the law is wrong. So now he should have followed with a respondent like, okay, this is how we fix it. This is what I would do. This is what I would say. This is how I believe as a country we should do it with the government and our tax money. The law is wrong. Like, you don't solve anything. You don't solve a problem. You're not solving anything. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean is not going to exist. It's okay that it's wrong. It's okay if it's right. But we have to bring in examples to support, or not even examples, solutions to support our arguments.
I'm not.
You think just because of the law, it's always right?
No, certainly not. Certainly
No,
not.
I'm not saying
But
that.
that's my point.
I'm not saying.
He got it. I like the way you like. I don't know what to say.
It's written to encourage investment, is which they want. So he's investing. So like the law is written to encourage certain things. If you disagree with it, you can go lobby and change. But he's not a bad guy.
See? And the thing about the United States government is they're playing the thing about the United States government is there's a lot of tax benefits, especially with real estate, but there's a lot of tax benefits if you are providing housing, like real estate or agriculture, or you start a business, Yeah, you get tax benefits. You get tax breaks. But again, the average person doesn't know this. A lot of this stuff I stumbled across. I am not an expert. Don't do your due diligence. Do your due diligence, ladies and gentlemen. But there are certain tax breaks that you get because guess what? The government doesn't have to fund it. If there's a private company building housing right now, let's say in Wyoming, I don't have to, as the state or the federal government helping that state, fund my tax money to that endeavor to provide housing. A private entity, a private company is doing that. So to thank them for doing this, or building a farm, to thank them for doing this, because guess what? It helps the economy, and in turn helping the economy, you help us, the United States government. Since you're doing this, we're going to give you a tax break. So it incentivizes you to keep doing more of this, and we'll give you more tax breaks. That's the reason. And he's right. Like I said before, if you want to make change, go lobby. You want to make change, you need to play the game in some aspect. Oh, look, the game is dirty. I don't want to play. But guess what? If you don't want to play, shh. That's uncomfortable to say. That may be crazy to say, but if you're not going to do anything but talk, there's no action behind your words, you're not going to make change.
I know you mentioned that there are barriers in place that do keep people kind of in impoverished conditions, but I don't think that we all.
Again, thank you guys for being here with me.
all acknowledge like the mental.
Well, that's where I was going. So if I can reflect on myself, I mean, I remember when I was living in poverty, I was just trying to survive. So I didn't even have the brain capacity to try to, or the willpower to kind of even desire to access the rules of the economy. But I mean, I had an epiphany, and I literally woke up one day and I was like, I cannot live the rest of my life like this. And
Those epiphany moments be hitting different, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think if we all in life have that one, if we all are grateful enough to have that one epiphany, you guys know what I'm trying to say, epiphany moment that changes your life, I think the world would be a better place, man. But it takes going through stuff. Not staying at home at your mama house, not staying with roommates, not being close by, always around people. It's sometimes most of the time it takes just being by yourself and going through things for that epiphany, there we go, hits.
And I don't care if people call me lame, square, they're gonna question my blackness. I mean, I don't care. I'm getting out.
Well, speaking about blackness, do you think there's a correlation between people from the African diaspora and people of color and poverty? You don't think there's like a relationship there?
It's true that, I belong to a community that makes less than certain other communities. That's true. Significantly less. But you can't look at differences between groups and say it's only because of systems. Systems played a huge deal to it. I'm not discounting that at all. Like, it's a real
The system did hurt the black community a lot.
big deal, and we're working to change that.
And also other communities as well. So, but that system, woo.
But also, I mean, statistically, like, people from my old neighborhood and people, around in these communities, they spend about 50% more on shoes than people who are not in those neighborhoods. And it's like, man,
Well, not only that, Todd, but I think I looked up a recent statistic that said that Asian households, their children tend to study 13 to 15 hours a week, where in a black household, it's like 3 hours a week.
I know you said it's not like a race issue, but when you think about the way that we got here as like African people, it was a race issue. We didn't have a chance to discover America like the other people did. So I feel like how you had mentioned that Asian Americans, they study more than black households.
And again, I think it's with the whole study thing, what you just said, it's really about the culture. Again, like you said before, like Tara got people saying, we want to look good, swag, move culture, make it cool. And then other cultures, education. So it's all about, I would say, the culture. You can change the culture, but I can see both sides. I can truly see both sides.
You don't feel like those communities are kind of socialized in their upbringing to be more inclined to care about their finances, as opposed to like African Americans, we would rather look rich than actually be rich. I think that's a part of like our community.
It's a culture. It's a choice.
Well, it's
not a choice.
I don't.
To a certain extent.
I think it's a choice.
2021.
I do think it's a choice. I'm not going to say it's not a choice, but I'm saying, do you feel like some people don't have the same choices as other people's in different communities?
I think some people don't have the mental capacity to allocate the energy to learn the rules of the game, quote unquote, because their instincts are kicking in to just survive.
I think trauma.
Yo, the big part what you just said right there, that just surviving in itself, I understand greatly. That thing is difficult. Well, follow your dream, follow your passion, do this, do that. Oh, you should take a break. When you're back against the wall, and especially if you're an hourly worker, bruh, or especially if you're the only person paying all the bills in your house, bruh, I gotta do what I gotta do to keep a roof over my head. I gotta do what I gotta do to feed my family. So that mental capacity is tough, man. I understand what you're talking about.
Trauma plays a heavier role than we like to account for. Trauma is the reason why I'm here. I come from a family, a heavily cult Islamic family, and the things that I was doing in my life they didn't agree with. They pretty much sent people to my house to kill me. I was set up multiple times. They hacked my social media pages, both my iPhones, you know what I mean? So I don't want to just kind of ignore trauma as if it doesn't really matter in terms of what you are capable of doing.
I agree. Trauma does play a big Trauma does play a big fault in everyone's lives. I guess when I hear discussions like this and people say trauma, it's always, I'm black, so it's always trauma from the past, which can play a big from the past, like 100 or 70 or 50 years ago, which is important to discuss and talk about. But I feel like just now, what really hit me just now was we really don't talk about the trauma what people go through now, the mental health, the emotional health what people go through now with therapy and everything. I always hear on like traditional media and sometimes on social media or the podcast, let me say that, it's always the past, like 100 years ago, 50 years ago. But what about now? She just gave a very perfect example about what she went through that caused trauma. And this is like within, I assume, the past 10 years or 5 years. So that's a great thing to talk about and reflect on. Trauma that affects you now can prevent you from making money. So it's always not sometimes the environment that you're born in, the family you're born in, is not a choice. You can't choose who your mom and dad is. You can't choose who your family or your blood is. You just are brought into it. So I can see what she's talking about there. I really had an educated moment. I mean, a growth moment just now. Let me say that. That really hit me now. Because there's always trauma in the past. In the past, but never trauma to the here and now within your life, your existence as an individual. That is, especially if you're in like a first world country like America, like that shouldn't be an issue. Man.
Partner right now are applying for EBT because we are just like living check to
This guy.
check right now. And
I mean, it's important. For you ladies and gentlemen that don't know, EBT is an electronic system that allows state welfare departments to issue benefits via magnetically coded payment card used in the United States. Wikipedia.com. I like this. Bringing up the facts, Jubilee.
And I'm supporting both of us because she just lost her job. We are like literally trying to get help from the government so that we can know that we have the funds to get groceries. It's so hard, and it feels like it's not as accessible as people make it seem.
To have everything stripped away from you and to not know where you're gonna sleep.
I told you guys in the beginning, man. You can get beat down by life every day you walk outside. But if you got a family, close friends who F with you, and you got a roof over your head, a place to come back to, and just breathe, you in a better position than a lot of other people. So be grateful, y'all.
It's just very difficult. You know, it almost feels like a past life of having like everything. You know, I had bags. I had to take my little Michael Kors back to the pawn shop, take every item of clothing that I had to Plato's Closet so that I could buy a one-way ticket for myself and my child. I didn't know what we were gonna eat. I didn't know where we were gonna sleep. And not to be a victim, but it's not my fault why I'm here, you know? It's because I speak out against cult behavior. I speak out against pedophilia. And publishing my story has the domino effect of that has led me to not knowing where I'm gonna eat, and I've never had that happen to me before prior to 4 months ago. And that's just really tough.
Thank you for sharing your story. That's really powerful. And yeah, like if you need help, like after this, let's just talk. That pulls on my heartstrings because my mother raised us 3 kids by herself.
Shout out to you, Ty. Shout out to you.
And my father was a wife beater. He was also a child molester. So anyone listening can connect the dots on that. I feel for you.
I almost want to jump out because it was only a short period of time, and just that short period of time when you're busted or whatever, and you're just like whatever. But you guys were like in the real thick of it. You guys were in the trenches. I visited the trenches for like a couple months.
You had a toe.
I had a toe in the trenches,
So I'm getting paid paycheck to paycheck, and on top of that, I have a crippling
Like most Americans, paycheck to paycheck.
gambling addiction. I'm addicted to weed. I'm addicted to alcohol. I'm addicted to vaping. And as soon as I have that direct deposit, it's like I have no control. Almost like I black out and
I would say though that getting that direct deposit is like a dopamine hit. You get that dopamine hit, and you thinking you can You can pay for everything. You can do everything. Oh, I can go out with friends. Oh, I can do this with so and so. Oh, I can hang with Brittany and Ashley, Kyle, Alex, Reggie, Chris. I'm just making up some names right now, but I can understand what she's talking about. Not only my family or friends, I'm guilty of that. That dopamine hit. Especially when you've been broke and you got like, yo, I got $50. It's gonna last me 2 weeks, and then you get your pay maybe like $400, $800. It's like, woo, I could do stuff now, at least for the weekend, and then be struggling the week after, and I gotta wait at least 4 or 5 days before I get my next paycheck. So I understand completely what she is talking about.
And I start gambling, start ordering drinks, start ordering weed, and then I come out of that no control feeling, and I'm like thinking, how am I gonna feed my pets this week, my cat, my dog? Like, I had all these plans up to my payday. Before I know it, all my money's gone, and it's addiction.
When you're in a position when you don't have a lot of money, you can't do a lot of things for fun, and you're often just like working. I have to survive, I have to feed myself. And so when you get that paycheck and you have just a little bit of enough money to do something that will spark joy for you, it's so hard to be like, no, I'll put it aside to save. It's like,
yeah, man, that delayed gratification is hard, especially when you're struggling and everything you have. Oh, save your money. I'll tell you this right now, from personal experience. You can save as much as you want, but if you living and paying all your stuff and only have like $200 left over every month, you ain't saving for nothing. You need to get another trade, a skill. I've been down that road. It ain't worth it. You're not gonna save and make no big dent in the your bank account or your credit card debt or your student loan debt or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just that relief, man. Everybody need that relief and that pressure just to breathe and exist and not worry about how I'm gonna pay my light bill, how I'm gonna pay my rent. So I can feel them on that.
It's like, I'll just do this one thing for myself. I'll just treat myself, and then it's like, well, now it's gone.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I used to think like that too, but I also thought about how joyful it would be to be rich. I would rather not have that instant gratification, because the gratification of being infinitely stable or more stable is more important. My name is Brittany. I am a holistic health practitioner, and I
shout out to you, Brittany.
Make around $130,000 a year. My relationship with my brother has literally crumbled since I have acquired more money. He only calls me when he needs something. The only person that I really have a relationship with.
Which is horrible. I know there's a lot of friends and family out there that do that. Just call you only because they need something.
It's my mom. I haven't spoken to my brother. I want them to be happy and, and successful more than anything. But it almost feels dehumanizing to be looked at as just the help and not a sister or a cousin or something like that. Yeah.
It's true sometimes. It's lonely at the top, and it's lonely, and you don't have to be at the top, but it's lonely when you're at a position in life where your family has never been before, and now you went from being family / sister to now, hey man, my car broke down, can you help me? Hey man, you got it like that, man. Let me hold 500, man. I'm gonna pay you back. I'm good for it. Oh man, my text come in. I got you. Cause it's lonely. Cause then it's like, damn, people I grew up with, people I laughed with, cried with. Now I'm just like a tool, so I can feel where she's coming from.
My name is Mia, and I'm currently working as a customer service representative for a moving and storage company. I make $45K a year. My family has always been like, oh, you gotta look presentable, you gotta look nice whenever we're going out to eat or to the mall. But as an adult, a lot of my money isn't going towards buying new clothes or jewelry, makeup, whatever it might be. So you'll catch me in like sweats and a t-shirt, and I just don't feel presentable enough to be at the mall, to be at a restaurant, because of that embarrassing feeling and shame of not investing more in how I present myself.
I tell you this too. It's like when you don't got much money, you get the basic of clothing. Give me some tees, some jeans, and a hoodie, some sneakers. I'm good. That other lavish stuff or accessory, man, I'm trying to maintain and do a little extra every other week.
The disagreeer.
You're just hanging out back there.
You know, I feel like I misunderstood the prompt.
So have you ever worried about where your next meal was going to come from?
Just
Ever?
once.
Oh, no, I definitely have. Like when I was in college, I was trying to buy groceries and the lady behind me ended up paying groceries for me, and it's so embarrassing because my card got maxed out and I had no money in the bank account basically.
I mean, that's not too bad.